Hi guys, today we're making chicken pie and the list of ingredients are on the screen. These are potatoes, carrots, chicken breasts, onions, some seasoning. For the dough, we add some salt to flour, some baking powder, some nutmeg, and some seasoning. Now, the exact measurements for all this are on the image at the beginning of the video. Now, I'm going to mix in my butter, make sure it forms like a smooth, crumbly feeling in your fingers. Just make sure there are no lumps in it. And then after this, I am going to add my milk. I am using milk as my liquid. You can also use water. It's the same measurement as the milk if you want to use water instead. And then I mix this and make sure that the dough is smooth, not lumpy. That's like the primary purpose of mixing and kneading with my fingers. You don't want to over knead your dough so it doesn't get too hard. After I do this, I cover with a cling film and put in the refrigerator while I work on my filling. Now for the filling, I just need the carrots, the potatoes, the protein, in this case which is chicken breast, but you can use beef if you want to make meat pie. You can use like a minced meat or a minced beef or something else for your filling. You have to cut your carrots and your potatoes in thin chops so that they can make this mushy filling. For the breast, I tried to shred it as much as I could, just get it into like bits and pieces to make it easier to cook. I like to boil my potatoes for a little bit just to get them soft before I fry them in the general filling. You can skip this part, but just know that you have to cook your potatoes till they are soft. I put some very small quantity of oil in the pan, allow it to get hot and fry the onions in there. Allow the onions to fry just a little bit, and then you put in the chicken because this is still raw, so you want it to cook a little bit more before you add the vegetables. I'm going to add this seasoning here, the garlic, as you can see on the screen, and then I'll add curry and also add some ginger as well as seasoning. And this is just to really flavor out that chicken and get the filling to be very nice, because if your filling is not nice, then your chicken pie or meat pie will not taste great. And if your dough is also not nice, then your chicken pie and meat pie will not taste great. So both the dough and the filling have to be in sync for you to have like a really nice pie. Now I'm adding the carrots and getting this to cook for a little bit before I add the potatoes. Remember, the potatoes were already parboiled, so you don't need to go in very early anymore. But if you did not parboil your potatoes, then you can put it in around the same time that you cook your chicken. Now I'm adding some extra seasoning as well, again just to make sure that the seasoning goes round, everything tastes really good. Here I am going to add like a mix of water and cornstarch. You can just use water and flour as well, it's just as a thickener. So this is water and flour mixed together just to help thicken that sauce and give it like the mushy appearance that we want for the filling. At this point, our filling is ready. I am going to set it aside and allow it to cool down while we work on the dough. Now for the dough, I just need to make sure that I have my baking sheet. You can just grease a pan. If you are baking with a pan, just grease your pan, but I'm using a baking sheet, so no need to grease. I am going to split my dough into pieces and knead a little bit more, not too much, just watch the way I knead. I'm stretching out and folding back in, and that's pretty much it. You don't have to over knead. Now for the egg, I'm separating the yolk from the white because I'm using this as a glaze later on for the pie. You would see what I use this for at the end of the day. Now I would also have a bowl of water on the side to use for my pie when I roll. So this is just to help like as a seal for the edges of the pie when you cut your chicken pie with a cutter. I don't have a cutter right now, so I am using the manual method, which is to find a circular object that has a width or a wide weight that you can use, and then just press it in like this, yeah. And then fill the middle with some filling, not too much so that I can cover, and then use the water to rub the edges and use your fork to pin it down to seal and give it that signature pie, meat pie look. I'm going to do this a couple of times for the dough. If you check, most of my dough are even. That's because I measured them out. I cut them out on the scale. I measured them at the beginning. Now you can do that, or you can also just keep that and gauge with your eyes if you don't mind. Try to roll out your dough so that all the pies are in the same consistency. Now I am glazing the pies with the egg whites that I whisked earlier, and then I'll poke some holes in them to allow steam out. Put in a tray and bake for 18 to 20 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. Now you just want to monitor this while it bakes and make sure you have a smooth looking, beautiful, moist chicken pie. Enjoy. Bye.